Well, good morning. Thanks for joining us for the Ohio AgNet podcast. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg. Joining me, and we'll see if I can point this the right direction.
It's
So
confusing.
we got Matt Reese up there, Matt, editor of Ohio's Country Journal, with us every week, and a special guest today. And I'll get my pointing right. We've got Mike Hannewald joining us today, and Mike can go by a number of different titles and different things he's had. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. Mike, looks like some sunshine out your window right now.
Yeah, it's a beautiful morning. Chilly, but it's a nice one. Bright and sunny for sure. So
Anytime this time of year, we can see sun outside the windows of Northwest Ohio or anywhere in the state of Ohio for that matter. It's a good day in March. So, Matt, big things going on this weekend with Ohio Beef Expo. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so they were celebrating the 35th anniversary. And for folks who have not gone to Beef Expo, it is quite a show. They're looking at around 1,600 cattle, 30,000 people, a trade show packed full of exhibitors. You can get giant belt buckles. You can get every kind of bling that you want for your own cowboy operation up there in Henry County. And just everything you can think of related to the cattle industry. It's a huge event. And 35 years is quite an accomplishment. And when they started 35 years ago, their goal was to mimic what they were doing in Iowa, and that show has far outpaced anything they're doing in Iowa there in Columbus at the Expo Center. So pretty big deal there, and pretty fun to talk about 35 years.
Absolutely. Well, we all know that Buckeyes can outcompete the Hawkeyes anytime, so that's
I
good
agree.
to know. That's good to know. And Mike, you've been traveling quite a bit too. You were in Washington, D.C. doing some things last week. A couple months ago, you were out down in Puerto Rico, of all places. So you've been a busy man. We're sort of lucky to catch you somewhere we can get to talk to you today. Tell us a little bit about some of your travels recently.
yeah, well, thanks. So I guess first up was back in January. Had the opportunity to go to American Farm Bureau annual convention down in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It was a beautiful place to go in January, much warmer than Ohio, and had the opportunity to represent Ohio and compete in the discussion meat contest down there. So it was a really good experience. And then, yeah, just
hold it, stop
right.
right there. He didn't just compete; he won the whole darn thing. You're being too modest. And I want Dusty to try to make you angry so we can argue back and forth and see who wins, because I'm pretty sure I know who will. Mike.
Mike will win.
Yeah.
Mike will win.
I don't know. We got a former discussion meet winner here on the call.
You know what? That's right. That's right. Oh,
Yep.
boy. I'm just going to get my popcorn and sit back, you guys, and let you have at it.
Matt, it's a discussion meet, not a debate. There's a difference there.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Polite discussion. Okay.
Yep.
But anyways, Mike, go on. So last week, though, you were traveling again.
Yeah, so was with Ohio Farm Bureau, the county president's trip in Washington, D.C. So I'm vice president in Lucas County. Our president, unfortunately, wasn't able to go, so I got to head out there. And we had the chance to hear from both of Ohio's senators, meet with our representatives, and talk about the issues that are first on our mind right now. And top of the line right now is the Farm Bill renewal. That expires in September. And so I had a lot of great conversations about what's most important to us as farmers in that legislation, and try and encourage the quick passage of that over the next few months. So
we had two of our staff members, Joe Everett and Joel Panorwood, out there on that trip. Did they behave, Mike? Were they under control?
For the most part, yeah.
Okay.
For the most part, they did.
You got to watch those guys. They're shifty.
Oh yeah. Fun to hang out with though. So
yes, they are.
Yeah. And we're going to catch up with Mike a little bit more, too, talk about his day job, actually. Aside from all this traveling and running around he does, he's actually an agronomist with Beck's Hybrids. And so we need to talk a little bit about what's gone agronomy. Matt, we should probably also let folks know that you and I had a busy week, not as busy maybe, but with Conservation Tillage Technology Conference last week. What were some highlights for you?
Well, my highlights were mostly watching Dusty work while I talked to people and took people's pictures. It's a really great event, a huge number of speakers at that. And I saw Mike there as well. Always lots of little nuggets to learn when you're hanging out with that many farmers. It was good attendance and just a great lineup of speakers as usual. Dusty talked with Dave Hula. That's pretty big time, bringing in Dave Hula. For those who don't know who he is, he's had some champion caliber corn yields through the years, in excess of 600 bushels per acre for corn. And he shared some tips, and him and Dusty talked about that. In addition to that, we jumped back to the week before, which was also busy at Commodity Classic. And Dusty, again, I have lots of pictures of Dusty doing work, and there aren't really many pictures of me doing anything because I was behind the camera the whole time. But Dusty talked ethanol with John Settlemeyer. He's the president of Ohio Corn and Wheat. Really good guy and very knowledgeable. So lots of good stuff in terms of that audio. And I talked with Jim Rentz at the Beef Expo. And I mentioned they're celebrating 35 years. He was the initial manager of that show back when it got started, and really dealt with a lot of challenges in terms of facilities, terrible weather. It got off to a rough start in some ways 35 years ago, but has really gone on to be a great success. So Jim Rentz also is coming up in the audio next, and that's all good stuff from the last couple of weeks that have been pretty busy for Dusty and I too.
And I dropped the ball on that because I did not get a picture of Matt talking to Jim. So it shows that Matt is actually a little more on the ball. But yeah, we'll have that all coming up in Digital Dale on Tuesday, and also available everywhere that you would download your podcast. So with that, we've got Matt Reese, we've got Mike Hannewald. I'm Dusty Sonnenberg. Thanks for joining us for this Facebook Live, and tune into the rest of the podcast.